football. We have gotten no word on what we're doing, but like obviously our kids we're playing on September 5th right now. So we came out here, changed up the entire practice, just put it down to scrimmage. So it's pretty good and pretty fun to watch these guys fly around and make some plays. When they were, especially when they're expecting to do a pretty tough practice, where there's a lot of structure and everything, where we got to actually put it down and play. So a lot of good energy out there. We're doing what we can control, and just really pleased with how these kids came to work today, based off of everything that you read on Twitter. So that's really all I got right now.
And they're on there. They see kind of the college football world and everything going on. How do you, as a coach, kind of keep them focused on right here, right now, when you're kind of watching the college football world collapse, so to speak?
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things. But like what I've always talked about is that you have to show transparency with the kids. So I tell them every time I get in front of the team in the mornings and the afternoons, and I tell them exactly where we stand. We talked about how we bumped the game up, to week 0, and now we bumped it back. I want them to understand that I'm communicating every single thing to them as quick as possible when it comes my way. And I think they have a lot of respect with that. And they understand that this is for the higher ups. This is kind of out of our control, but it's always good to let them know. I tell them, Twitter, you never know what's right or wrong, right? And just listen to me on, what I'm going to be thinking and what they've directed to me. The same thing with all COVID policies, COVID guidelines, rules, and all that. I educate them on what the medical professionals are telling us, not what you're reading on Twitter and everything of that nature. And they get that, and you show the transparency with the players. And I think there's a respect factor with that, because they know that we're going to do whatever we can for them to follow their dreams out and play. But in the meantime, we just got to make sure that we're doing everything right on our end and communicating as best as possible.
What went into moving the game back to September 5th?
I still don't know exactly, but like a lot of it is I think just with all the cancellations and how there's a lot of open spots, we did move that up for schedule flexibility for SMU and us. But with Ohio dropping and just a lot of bye weeks in those first 6 days, 6 weeks of our schedule, I think that's kind of what was the final say with that. It's just let's move it back where everybody else is starting around this time. I just do what I was told. I just go from there.
Coach, we saw a lot of players, coaches, and administrators talk about how they want to play this season. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I've sat down with the team and they want to play, and I'm going to do whatever I can for our players. We've had a lot of talks about the COVID guidelines, our protocols and everything, and they believe that they are in the safest place right now is here in our facility in this fall camp, because we have rules and guidelines where you're either at the facility right now or you're at home, and we at the end of this practice we still broke it down on making sure that everybody knows what is at risk. We have another test coming up here soon. We need to test clean and make sure that we're doing the right things and not spreading the virus or anything of that nature. And I think our kids feel very safe and comfortable here at Texas State, just based off of the results and what we've done for the past 2 months. You got to be pleased with our athletic training room. Just really the administration on how we've handled this, how we've eased ourselves into this situation. We didn't just throw 120 kids here on campus. This started back June 1st because we knew that we'd probably get to this point. We have to show that we're doing the necessary protocols the right way. And when your kids come to you and you pretty much have the unanimous vote, didn't get that. It was mainly with the seniors right now, and they all want to play. And I'm going to stand with our players, and it's up to me to make sure that we're making this a clean environment and doing everything in our mind to make sure that we prevent the spread of this virus so we can play. And the leadership of our team, this is probably different where we were at last year, this year, but like these kids stood up and they know what's at stake, and they want to make sure that all the new kids on this program are following exactly what we're telling them to do so we can end up playing the season.
Do you feel your players are safer here than home?
There's a lot of unknown, but like I feel like we have so many medical professionals watching every single thing, every move that is going on in our program. So, we've had kids sit home and tested for COVID for having allergies. We were very over the top, extreme, making sure that if there is anybody that is showing symptoms of anything, we're taking the right proper protocols and easing into it. So I had about 4 or 5 guys out today that are negative, and they have no symptoms. Like they had symptoms. Excuse me. They had symptoms of just typical allergies and things that happen on a daily basis with people. And, I think that we have so many eyes on our students right now, and we're testing them, and we're talking with them, and we're making sure that we're doing the right things with the sanitation side of things, and how we're cleaning things, and how we're social distancing throughout our facility. So again, I do think we're putting our kids in a very safe environment here, where it's the unknown, where I don't know what they do when they go home. Like that's what we have to, just make sure that we're having accountability with the team and doing the right things, and socially distancing, and really quarantining when they're away from this facility, and coming back and making sure we're getting our work in and doing the right things.
Coach, you had mentioned earlier that just this year is the kind of year where pretty much everybody's got to be ready to play at any given moment. Just kind of, what are you seeing as far as like depth-wise? Are you liking the progress that everybody on the roster is making?
Yeah, you really focus on it now. Like in the past, fall camp, you get to that 3s and the 4s kind of on like scrimmage basis, kind of get them a few reps here and there. But now we're putting effort into it, and in our walkthroughs every other day, we're making sure that they're all getting reps during practice, because you never know. And that's what we've got to make sure that we're doing all the COVID guidelines and protocols, but we also got to make sure that these kids are safe and ready to play and protect themselves when they're going out there in a live environment. So, it gets frustrating at times, because these kids just walked on. Some of them just walked on campus here, about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and we're throwing them in the fire. We're playing football with them. So, but it goes back to transparency, and these kids understand what's at risk, and everybody's got to elevate their play. And we have a standard that we're trying to create here, that it's the next man up. Regardless of what happens, we still got to have the level of play that we want it to be, and that's our standard.
Have you had any players opt out or come to you with concerns and have any serious conversations about that?
No, not yet. It's where we're at right now. It's just like moving forward. Everybody feels like they're in a safe environment, and really they're just trying to be as cautious as possible so we can play the season. And they know that it's completely out of our control. But if we can set a good example and make sure that we're doing things properly, then at least it'll make it an easier decision on the higher ups.
I saw some new faces today as opposed to last week. I saw Blair Perez, I saw Cameron Pruitt, I saw Roderick Hockley. Anybody I'm missing, or it seems like you're adding some depth there? What can you tell me about those players?
No, I don't think we're missing anybody from those 3. But yeah, it's that's why we put the ball down and let them scrimmage a little bit, because Derek got here about a week ago, and you're getting him just in the acclimatization period, and this is really his first time where he could actually go and scrimmage. So it was good to see. Calling the plays, I wasn't really focused on that. I'm kind of curious to see how he turned out. I know that the defense was one to challenge Derek to see what he's capable of doing and help us, which again, it goes back to really everybody on our roster. They're probably gonna have to have a moment where they're probably gonna end up in the game. So really curious where that goes. But again, we're trying to bring in as many people as we can. But to phase them in, it takes a while for all the testing and protocols and all that stuff. So you're looking at practice 8 today.
Has the uncertainty changed the atmosphere in practice at all, or do you see the same kind of effort and focus with the players as you were going?
I see the same, attitude. Like these kids, they love playing the game, especially when we changed up the rhythm and the routine of it today and just let them just go play, which is always exciting. They didn't have to go through inside drill and one-on-ones and individual and, all these certain scenarios. They got to go out there and play. So I think a lot of that, too, was from the coaching staff. We all got together and thought it'd be in the best interest for the team to get a little more energy out there instead of just, them reading Twitter and know about the uncertainties of the college football season. They can go out there and have some fun. So a lot of it has to do with the structure of the practice, but I think they like to go out there and play. They do. So I enjoy it, and they know that, anything can happen at any moment. So let's go out there and make the best of each moment that we got.
Just being in the stands, it looked like a pretty normal scrimmage setting. Was this day different from how it would have been last year, or what were some of the adjustments?
It was. Our depth's a lot bigger right now. That's something that we took a lot of pride on in the offseason, is making sure that we can go out there and have a 90-play scrimmage. Last year we were probably around 60 because our kids were getting a ton of reps, and we don't want to wear them down. But like going back to just having everybody ready next man up, it's a great opportunity for us to put on a long scrimmage. We're capable of doing that right now.
You have some players who have waivers out, Waydell Jones, Cyrus Robinson, Jamal Jeter. Any information on them?
Nothing right now. We have submitted all three of them. We just, we ask every morning, and they just say it's in queue right now. So we're just waiting for their response. Hopefully we get an answer here soon, so we can start repping accordingly. But it would be great for us to do about that.
Coach, did anyone stand out during this scrimmage today, or?
I thought there was a lot of good and bad. I put the kids in a 2-minute situation at the beginning. I loved how both the quarterbacks operated, and they took them down to score and won the game. That hasn't happened here yet. And what I try to do and how I've done this with quarterbacks is I want it to be really hard on them. There's times where I just call base play calls to see if they can check and find their best players and make it happen, because that's what good quarterbacks are about. But I'm really pleased with the level of play that Tyler Pitt and Brady McBride have right now. But I think the receiver core is stepping up. I think Haydell is having a really good fall camp. You get Marcel Barbie showing flashes, but then Drew Jackson and Chandler Spites. It's fun watching those guys go. I knew that the running backs were pretty good just based off of what we had last spring. But it's good to see everybody else elevating their play. But when you look at the defense, I think that back end's pretty solid. They got a lot of depth and they can do a lot of different things. But what's the most surprising to me is those linebackers, Christian Taylor and Braden Stringer and Sione. They end up, bringing a lot of depth and physicality. I think this is probably one of the more physical practices that we've had in a while. And you guys probably saw glimpses of that. There were some pretty good collisions out there. That just means we're getting better players out there, and we're getting highly competitive. So.
You brought up the fire. You saw some of that from McBride too, some fiery moments. Do you like to see that? Is that a good sign in fall camp?
Hey, man, you can never that's the one thing you can't coach is the competitive spirit of somebody. And Brady, it's 4 inches for him every single time that he gets behind center, and I love watching that. There was an interception, a tip ball interception, and he ends up chasing one down, ends up getting in the scuffle in the end zone, which you've never seen that happen. Most quarterbacks kind of shy away from that, but it's just all out of the competitive fire of the game. And these practices are getting more chippy every single day. And you bring it up at the end. That's why we always have to come up and we say dap it up, and everybody's just shaking everybody's hand, and just kind of talking through with it, because it's really competitive and there's a lot of intense moments. But when you get to the middle of the field, it's all done with, and none of this carries off the field into the locker room. So it's just fun to watch these kids get after each other, but they know it's nothing personal. It's just playing.
How often do you talk to the kids about what they need to do to stay safe, away from a practice and team setting to keep this thing rolling? What's the message
All the
there?
time. They probably get a little bit annoyed with me, but I'm trying to because I'm meeting with them twice a day, I just kind of do a little bit here and there, and then we make sure that the assistant coaches and the athletic trainers and the string staff is doing the same. So they're really getting it from all angles. They understand what a contact is. They understand just how this spreads, and you may not even know, but if you're still not practicing safe habits when you leave here, you can still transmit this to everybody else in our facility. And that's why we talk about the importance of, if we're going to play this year, we have to show that we are doing the right things and really taking extreme caution of handling our business from a safety and a protocol guideline side of things. So, but it's a constant education, it's a constant communication of what's going on. As long as you show transparency and you show them why we are doing things and where it's coming from, then they can actually agree with what you're doing, because there's a lot of things out there that you can read and be swayed a different way. We just do what the CDC guidelines say, the medical professionals of the conference and the NCAA. We just make sure that we're communicating with them as much as possible about it.
So it seems like you have pretty much the whole team here at this point. What kind of chemistry are you starting to see build?
Yeah, that was probably my biggest concern moving forward. It's a new team. We have between 50 and 55 new kids. That's a lot. That's a whole nother team, especially in these times. You don't get to do true team meetings and sit down with these guys all the time. But you take that with just the leadership that was here and how we do things and how they can just communicate things out and how you should be accepting of your new teammates. And I think it's gone pretty smooth. You would love to have a spring with these guys too, and get more in, but just due to the times, everybody's got to do their part. And I think that the continuity and the unity of the team is increasing on a daily basis. We still got a lot of time until we play, and we're trying to do a lot of team activities we can, in certain situations, and pair people up in different ways. But that's something I think separates teams is the continuity and how close they are. And we're putting a lot of time making sure that we can do it these times.
As you guys kind of plan out practices are going to look heading to the season opener, does the change in the date force you to make some big adjustments, or is that pretty smooth?
It actually helps us out a little bit more, because typically you have about that many practices now, where you can get 2 solid weeks of pads, and then you can kind of taper off a little bit in that middle week, and then we always do a mock week. So these kids understand, because school will start on the 24th, don't know how that's going to go. They can at least get into a rhythm on how their classes are, how the schedule is, what a Tuesday, Wednesday practice looks like, how we do our no sweat Thursdays and the night before, and then we'll do a mock game the day before, the weekend before our home opener on the 29th. And that's pretty much because these kids don't know where to stretch. They don't know how to do any of this stuff right now, like where the sidelines are, where the benches are, where they go, because we got a brand new team. So it's a lot about education and making sure that when you get to a game week, it runs smooth. So it actually gives us a little more time to go through fine comb it all and go through it all and make sure that we're getting healthy and put these kids in a routine and a rhythm of what to expect during the season.
One of the other big talking points the last couple of days has been the possibility of a college football players union. Do you see that as something that would be beneficial for the sport?
I haven't had much time to think about that one, but I probably do see that coming. Because I'm always a transparent guy. Like, the players need us and we need the players. And I think there's going to be a lot of discussions moving forward. I don't know how, the parameters of it all. I'm very curious to see where those discussions go. Because you've got Power 5 and Group of 5, the FCS. Like, there's just a lot of different moving parts. But I do see something in the future, and I think that's how this all is going to go. Who knows? There could be more conference realignment at the end of this year. Just the way things are going. So, I really don't get to make those decisions, but I can see that happening.
How do you make sure that your players, like within this program, have that same voice to make change around here that they're pushing for nationally?
Yeah, and I've had these discussions with them. I think student athletes have a very powerful platform, and especially in college football. There's a lot of eyes on people, and you got to use it in a positive manner. I talk about that all the time. I never want to, take their voice away from them. If there's something that they're passionate about, it means a lot, then they need to use their platform and do it in a positive manner, and however they want to cause change. And I think that the more you talk with your players about that, the more open and more comfortable that they will be about using their voice in their platform.
But even around here, like if they want to have a say in, protocols or safety or how practices run, like do you give them an opportunity?
All the time. I meet with our leadership group once a week. We were going about twice a week, but now it's just once a week, based off of, fall camp. But I'll meet with them on Wednesdays, and we talk through everything that you can think of. Like, it goes from safety protocols to what they're eating, to any issues in the locker room, to scheduling or what they want to wear on game day. So that's kind of the realm I was raised in, with Coach Sumlin and Dana Holgerson and Cliff Kingsbury and all those guys. It goes both ways, and you'd like to know exactly what's on the mind of the players, and you work out agreements, and you talk about what's going to be best for our program, and where everybody has